In a moment of divine revelation, the humble donkey kneels before the consecrated host, eliciting gasps from a crowd steeped in skepticism. The townspeople of Rimini, once dismissive, now stare in astonishment as their doubt begins to shatter. With the essence of faith hanging in the balance, the miracle is set to unfold, forcing each heart to confront what it truly believes. But to understand how we got to this point, we need to go back to the beginning. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know in the comments where you're listening from. In the year 2005, a 15-year-old boy named Carlo Acutis sat at his desk in Milan, Italy, engrossed in the glowing blue screen of his computer. His fingers danced across the keyboard, tapping away in pursuit of knowledge that transcended the everyday. Carlo was not just a regular teenager. He was a young man steeped in faith, driven by the stories of miracles that filled the pages of the Bible and church history. Every click brought him closer to uncovering the profound truths that echoed through time. Today, he was particularly captivated by the miracle of Rimini, a Eucharistic miracle that had occurred in 1227. The story fascinated him, not merely because of its historical significance, but for the profound implications it held for all who dared to believe. As he read, the narrative unfolded like a vivid painting in his mind, and he felt strongly drawn to the rich layers of faith and struggle woven into its fabric. He imagined the dusty streets of Rimini, bustling with people, yet overshadowed by doubt and skepticism. Saint Francis of Assisi, the beloved patron saint of animals and the environment, had arrived in Rimini during a time of stark division. As Carlo learned about Francis's arrival, he envisioned the saint exuding warmth and compassion, hoping to spread the message of Christ to a community resigned to heretical beliefs. Yet, what met him was an atmosphere thick with rejection and ridicule. Carlo's heart went out to Francis as he faced the scorn of the townsfolk, their laughter shards piercing through his noble intentions. For 3 exhausting days, Francis endeavored to reach their hearts, only to encounter jeers and indifference. The profound loneliness in that struggle resonated within Carlo, who understood the weight of trying to express one's faith in an unsympathetic world. Each passing moment chipped away at the saint's resolve, leaving him to wrestle with despair. Carlo could picture the turmoil in Francis's heart, filled with both determination and sorrow, as hope dangled before him like a flickering candle in the wind. What must it have felt like to confront apathy while carrying the world's greatest message? How easy it would have been to lose faith in that moment. Carlo pondered these questions, and they stirred something deep within him, a yearning to stand firm like Francis in his own faith journey. It was during these painful days that inspiration struck. In an act that could only be described as divine, Francis turned to the simplest of all companions, a donkey. At that moment, Carlo felt the world around him fade away, replaced by the anticipation of what would happen next. The idea that an animal could serve as a witness to the divine was a profound turn. It was as if, in their blindness, the people of Rimini had missed the truth that even the humblest creature recognized the presence of Christ. Carlo's imagination flared with excitement at the idea of the miracle soon to unfold, the donkey that would affirm the reality of the Holy Eucharist amid skepticism. With bated breath, Carlo visualized the central square where the confrontation would take place. He saw St. Francis standing proudly, a consecrated host raised before him, as the donkey stepped forward, perhaps wavering at first. The very tension of the moment hung heavily in the air like a gathering storm, the spectators uncertain of what to expect. Would they convert their skepticism to belief? Would they ridicule or embrace this humble act? Carlo knew that with the presentation of the host came an opportunity for miracles to take root in the hearts of many, and yet uncertainty loomed. As he dove further into the narrative, Carlo could practically feel the weight of the crowd watching intently, breath held, unity faltering amidst division. The very essence of faith was on trial, and he sensed a palpable tension awaiting the miraculous moment. Would the donkey kneel? The thought sent chills down his spine. Carlo could already envision the gasps rippling through the gathering villagers as the donkey, a simple creature, recognized the sacredness of the moment and bowed in reverence. In that moment of reflection, Carlo felt an urge to share this lesson of humility and faith with others. His mind raced with ideas, dreams of crafting a digital exhibit that would bring this miracle to life. Could he, like St. Francis, bridge the gap between doubt and belief in his generation? Could the story inspire youth to engage with their faith? Each thought ignited a spark of hope within him, compelling him to act. Imagining the way people would react, Carlo envisioned the transformation that could occur in the hearts of all those who witnessed the miracle. The sight of the donkey's adoration would force them to confront their own skepticism. Here was a story not merely of a saint, but a living parable that showcased how even animals recognize the sacredness of the Eucharist, a powerful reminder that faith requires humility. He felt compelled to explore the lasting impact of the miracle, the cascade of conversions that would ripple through the crowd. Carlo envisioned these moments vividly, feeling the electricity of faith exchanged in hushed voices, modest nods, eyes widening in wonder. The stories that emphasized love, humility, and acceptance rang with more significance than his everyday challenges. These reflections compelled him forward, and in that moment of clarity, he understood that these powerful tales did not just belong to dusty ancient texts. They called for a modern medium, a digital space that could resonate with the hearts and minds of today's youth. Carlo envisioned interviews with Franciscan friars, layers of content that would weave the historical into the present, illuminating the miracle's legacy. Scarcely aware of the hours slipping by, Carlo's heart swelled with determination. He closed his laptop and felt the weight of a newfound mission settle upon him. The miracle of Rimini was not an isolated event, it lived and breathed through the generations, calling out to all who walked in faith. Carlos smiled, exhilarated by the knowledge that he would embark on a journey determined to awaken hearts and minds alike, bringing the timeless lessons of humility, love, and unyielding faith into the lives of those around him. Little did he know, the unfolding of this mission would not only connect him to the legacy of St. Francis, but also reinforce the very essence of what it means to believe. As the sun rose higher over Rimini, the town began to stir with the sounds of daily life, but today held a different energy, a sense of anticipation that shimmered in the air. In the central square, the atmosphere buzzed with voices discussing the presence of St. Francis, a man who had defied convention by embracing a path of radical love and faith. Yet beneath the surface of curiosity lay a thick layer of skepticism, an unyielding resistance to the very message Francis sought to impart. St. Francis stood at the heart of the square, his heart pounding with a mixture of hope and trepidation. His mission had not been easy. He had faced ridicule and derision from the townsfolk who could not see the path to divine truth despite his sincere efforts. It was a struggle that weighed heavily on him, like an anchor pulling at his spirit. Time and again, he had poured himself out to these people, urging them to recognize the love of Christ. Open your hearts. He had pleaded, but instead of reception, he encountered only scorn. On this day, however, he had a plan. A divine spark of inspiration had ignited within him, urging him to harness the unexpected power of humility. With each passing moment, his resolve solidified. The donkey, yes, the donkey he had seen in the square had become a symbol of the simple faith that could speak volumes where words often failed. He envisioned this moment not just as a demonstration of faith, but as an invitation to the people of Rimini to see with fresh eyes. As he approached the donkey, the creature stood quietly, seemingly oblivious to the subtle tension that surrounded them. Francis felt a surge of affection for the animal, recognizing it as an embodiment of the meekness that opens hearts to divine encounters. He whispered reassuring words to the donkey, hoping to channel the sacred energy into this singular moment that would be forever engraved in the annals of faith. Around him, the crowd began to thicken, drawn by the unique spectacle. Skeptical whispers mingled with curiosity as Francis positioned himself in the center of the square. He took a deep breath, centering himself, clasped his hands around the consecrated host, and raised it high for all to see. The sun struck the host, and for a brief moment it shimmered like a beacon. Today, he declared, his voice carrying a hint of trembling excitement, you shall witness a miracle that will challenge your understanding of faith. The townspeople fell silent, their disbelief clashing with their curiosity. They leaned forward, straining to comprehend what was about to unfold. Fear and daring intertwined in the air, fear of the unknown mingled with the daring hope that perhaps, just perhaps, this could change everything. Then, with an expectant hush falling over the crowd, Francis reached down and held the host out to the donkey. My dear friend, he spoke gently, recognized the body of our Lord. He felt a surge of prayer rising within him, a plea for the hearts of the people to awaken. The donkey, seemingly caught in a contemplative moment, gazed up at the host. Carlo, watching in rapt attention, could sense the quickening pulse of disbelief among the townsfolk. Would the donkey kneel? Would it respond to the sacredness of the moment? In that charged silence, anticipation morphed into something palpable. Eyes darted back and forth, breaths held in collective wonder. And then it happened. The donkey, with serene dignity, slowly lowered itself to its knees, bowing its head reverently before the consecrated host. Gasps erupted from the crowd, disbelief rapidly transforming into astonishment. Look, someone shouted, pointing in disbelief, it's kneeling. Carlo's heart raced as he felt waves of awe wash over him. In an instant, the atmosphere shifted, every skeptic froze, captivated by the unlikely act of worship unfolding before them. In that moment, even the most hardened hearts began to soften, coaxed out of their stubbornness by the simple tenderness of the donkey's actions. It was as if the miracle represented more than a mere act. It embodied a universal truth, the simplicity and purity of faith cut through the complexities of human pride. Francis stood there, breathless and radiant, as the crowd began to murmur in astonishment. Whispers grew louder, excitement crackling like electricity in the air. How can this be? They pondered aloud, faces alight with wonder. If an animal can recognize the presence of Christ, what does that mean for us? The questions began to pour forth as the implication of the miracle washed over them like a cleansing rain. Tears welled in the eyes of many as they confronted their own disbelief. Here was an invitation to let go of pride and embrace the humility that St. Francis lived out each day. For Carlo, witnessing the change in the crowd was an exhilarating moment, a realization that profound truths can emerge from the unlikeliest of places. He could feel that the ripple effect of this ceremony would extend far beyond the square and centuries into the future. As the donkey rose from its position, the townsfolk erupted into applause, joy, and realization mingling among their shouts. Their skepticism began to crumble, replaced by glimpses of faith and curiosity. Conversations erupted like wildfire, each person engaging with another as they processed what they had witnessed. They approached Francis, their hearts wide open, tears of gratitude glistening in their eyes. "He's right, we need to embrace this truth," echoed one voice. "We've been so blind," lamented another. The once heartless barriers crumbled and a profound transformation swept through the crowd. Lives once closed off to love and faith blossomed with an eagerness to seek understanding. The scene was nothing short of miraculous, the very essence of hope being reignited. As Carlo watched this powerful shift unfold, he felt a deep calling to carry the meaning of this miracle into the world. This was the legacy of St. Francis he wished to celebrate and share, mining its rich depth and letting it inspire a new generation to embrace faith with open hearts. With renewed passion, Carlo envisioned how he would tell this story, crafting a narrative that could resonate with youth everywhere. He had witnessed the profound impact of humility, love, and faith, transforming skepticism into belief. There was a lesson in this event, a call for young souls to step forward and embrace the richness of spiritual connection in their lives. In the days that followed, Carlo felt the fire of inspiration dance ever brighter within him. He knew that it was not just about recounting history. It was about breathing life into it, sharing the immense power it held to inspire, educate, and transform. He would not only carry the legacy of St. Francis forward, he would ensure that the miracle of Rimini would echo through the ages, igniting hearts and creating pathways for those seeking the light in an often cloudy world. As the people of Rimini joined together in a newfound spirit of unity, Carlo's excitement surged. He had witnessed a stunning display of the divine, and with a heart filled with determination, he began to plan his project. The story of the miracle would not just be a tale for the past, it would breathe and live anew in the hearts of the youth ready to embrace it. This was just the beginning of a journey that would undoubtedly traverse time and space, reaching souls eager to discover the power of humility, faith, and love. As the days turned into weeks, the miracle of Rimini continued to echo through the hearts and minds of its witnesses, radiating hope and renewal. Carlo, immersed in his project, felt the weight of this legacy press upon him with invigorating urgency. Each moment spent planning and creating fueled his passion, a genuine desire to inspire youth everywhere with the message and lessons derived from the miracle. Carlo rallied his friends, each meeting filled with enthusiasm about the digital platform they were building, which had now taken shape as reflections of Rimini. They envisioned it as a vibrant space for exploration, a sanctuary for conversations about faith, miracles, and lived experiences. Each brainstorming session brought fresh ideas and creative juices flowed as they worked together to ensure the project would resonate with young hearts. The team decided that the website would feature an interactive timeline that encompassed significant events from the story of St. Francis and the miracle. They wanted to engage the audience visually, animations that captured the essence of the donkey kneeling, the crowd in awe, and the vibrant energy of faith radiating through the square. The goal was to transport visitors into the heart of the moment, allowing them to experience the miracle as if they were standing alongside Francis himself. In one of their passionate discussions, one of Carlo's friends excitedly suggested, "What if we include personal testimonies from youth who have been inspired by the miracle?" The room buzzed with agreement, everyone recognizing the power of real stories shared by real people. They envisioned a section dedicated to youth testimonials, where individuals could share their journeys of faith, their struggles, and how the teachings of St. Francis spoke to them. With clarity of purpose, they reached out to youth groups, inviting them to participate in the project. Invitations were crafted with care, encouraging their peers to record short video testimonials or write about how they felt inspired by the miracle and what it meant to them personally. Carlo knew that this would not only enrich the content, but would also create a sense of community among those sharing their stories. As the testimonies began to roll in, Carlo felt a warmth spread through him, a gentle reminder of the connection they were fostering. Amidst this journey of creation, Carlo still found himself grappling with moments of doubt and uncertainty. The enormity of the task pressed against him at times, especially when he considered how easily youth could feel lost amid the distractions of modern life. He worried about the project's impact. Would it resonate with those living in a world so far removed from the simplicity of faith? Would people genuinely engage with the content they were curating? During one particularly challenging evening, Carlo took a moment to himself. He leaned back in his chair, closed his eyes, and breathed deeply, praying for guidance. Remembering St. Francis, he reflected on the beauty of humility, the element of being grounded, recognizing that they were simply vessels of the divine working to bring forth a message that called out to humanity. He realized that the miracle of Rimini was not meant only for the faithful. It was for everyone, even those who doubted, even those who felt on the fringes of belief. Faith grows in the hearts of those who dare to seek, he murmured quietly, recognizing the importance of inclusivity in their project. With renewed clarity, he refocused his energy, finding strength in vulnerability, resolute to forge ahead. As the summer months rolled in, Carlo and his friends began to solidify their plans for a launch event. They envisioned it as a celebration not just of the website but of community and togetherness, an evening where faith and friendship would intertwine. They organized a local gathering in the park where youth from different backgrounds could come together to share in the experience, connecting with one another over the miracle of Rimini. In preparation, they set up a small stage, decorated with light strings and colorful banners that showcased imagery from the miracle, intertwined with quotes from St. Francis. The team organized activities, faith-based games, stories shared by participating youth, and group discussions on how to embrace humility and love in their daily lives. As the launch day arrived, the sun shone warmly overhead, reflecting the vibrant energy that pulsed through the park. Families began to arrive, laughter and chatter echoing joyfully. Carlo's heart raced with anticipation, gratitude flooding his senses as he saw the community gathering in celebration. Friends and strangers alike, all connected by the shared desire to explore their faith. Carlo stepped onto the stage, his heart swelling as he looked out at the faces illuminated by the golden sunlight. With sincerity in his voice, he addressed the crowd. "Thank you all for coming to celebrate the launch of Reflections of Rimini. Today we embark on a journey together, a journey back to the heart of faith and humility found in the miracle of St. Francis. The stories we share here resonate through the ages and remind us that we are never alone on this path." As he spoke, he felt the spirit of St. Francis enveloping the gathering, igniting a flame of connection among them. Each word he shared about the miracle brought forth a renewed commitment to uphold the teachings of love that transcended time and space, nurturing bonds that extended far beyond the day's event. The night unfolded beautifully. Youth shared their journeys, laughter lit up the air during group activities, and heartfelt discussions ignited sparks of understanding about faith and humility. Carlo marveled at the stories being shared, recognizing the profound effect the miracle had on those who engaged with it. For every individual, the experience became uniquely theirs, an invitation to faith and exploration of their own humanity. As sunset approached, Carlo gathered the crowd together, his heart full. They took a moment to reflect on the meaning behind the miracle of Rimini, a timeless call to humility, a reminder to recognize the sacred in the everyday. He encouraged them to carry this message into the world, to remain open to what God might reveal, and to embrace every opportunity to share love with those around them. The evening culminated with everyone standing together, united in song, their voices mingling in harmony as they celebrated the gift of faith that transcended generations. In that moment, Carlo felt the warmth of community settle around him, echoing in the laughter and joy that surrounded him. As the event came to a close, Carlo caught the gleam in the eyes of his friends, each one touched by the spirit of unity that had emerged that day. With smiles stretching across their faces, they embraced one another, knowing they had birthed something beautiful together. The legacy of Rimini was no longer a distant tale from the past. It had woven itself into the very fabric of their lives and their community, destined to impact generations to come. And as Carlo stood there, bathed in the glow of the sunset, he understood that his mission had taken root. The miracle of Rimini would continue to thrive, breathing life into weary hearts, reminding everyone that the extraordinary could manifest through acts of humility, the simple and sincere pursuit of love. With each soul they reached, Carlo knew they were not only honoring St. Francis's legacy, but also lighting the path for thousands to discover the profound beauty laid within the heart of faith. As the sun set and the festival's final echoes faded into starry skies, the community of Rimini began to feel the lasting impact of the miracle of faith that had unfolded before them. In the aftermath of the event, Carlo and his friends continued to nurture the connections they had made, embracing the spirit of unity that had been cultivated that day. In the weeks that followed, the energy in the community buzzed with newfound enthusiasm. Many youth reached out to Carlo, excited to join the movement that had sparked their interest in exploring faith. The festival had not just been an event, it had ignited something deeper within them, a desire for shared experiences and the richness of community. Carlo organized regular meetings with the new volunteers, eager to channel their energy and ideas into ongoing projects. They brainstormed ways to continue fostering connections and sharing the message of humility rooted in the miracle of Rimini. Drawing inspiration from St. Francis's teachings, they began creating small groups focused on service and outreach. "Let's create a Acts of Humility project," one volunteer suggested, sparking excitement around the table. "We could reach out to local shelters or elderly homes and organize regular volunteering sessions. We can highlight the importance of serving our neighbors while capturing these moments to share on our site." "I love that idea," Carlo exclaimed. His heart raced at the thought of putting their mission into action. "Let's spend time together, embodying the values of love and kindness while sharing our experiences with others. We'll show that humility is not just some abstract concept, it's alive in our daily interactions." With plans set in place, the group rolled up their sleeves and launched various outreach activities over the coming months. Every Saturday, the young volunteers gathered to serve, whether it was preparing meals at shelters, organizing clothing drives, or visiting local nursing homes. With every act of service, they witnessed the transformative power of humility and love, and those experiences deepened their commitment to the teachings of St. Francis. As they shared these moments online, testimonials flooded in from those who were touched by their efforts. One afternoon, while scrolling through their website, Carlo stumbled upon a heartfelt reflection from an elderly woman they had visited during their outreach efforts. She spoke of how the young volunteers not only brought food but also companionship, igniting a spark of joy in her life. Her words were a reminder that these acts of humility had lasting impacts, lighting up the lives of both the giver and the receiver. The group began to grow, attracting more youth who wanted to contribute to their mission of spreading love and service. Workshops were organized to discuss the importance of empathy and kindness, reinforcing the idea that they were tasked with being the change they wanted to see in the world, inspired by the legacy of Rimini. As the seasons changed, so did their efforts. They decided to expand their mission beyond local outreach, aiming to connect with underprivileged communities outside Rimini. Carlo organized a fundraising initiative to gather resources for families in need and to support local shelters that provided for those experiencing hardship. Their network expanded throughout various regions, each step fueled by the passion ignited by the miracle they had embraced. On a particularly rainy Saturday, when spirits might have dampened under the dreary weather, Carlo and his friends transformed a community center into a hub of warmth. They claimed an indoor space to serve meals, filled with laughter and chatter as they worked together, whipping up hearty soups, preparing refreshments, and decorating the halls with bright, cheerful decorations. As the event commenced, even the rain couldn't dampen the sense of joy in the air. Carlo noticed how they worked as a cohesive team, each individual finding purpose in the smallest tasks, from serving soup to setting up tables. Their laughter echoed through the center, a testament to the joy of serving together, even as rain pelted against the windows. When guests began to trickle in, Carlo felt his heart swell with hope. Young and old shared meals and stories, their conversations weaving connections where walls had once stood. At that moment, he could almost see the threads of unity stitching the community together, a vision of what Rimini had become, a tapestry of hope, humility, and love. The heart of service continued to beat strong within their community, but Carlo realized that their work extended beyond just actions. It was about cultivating a mindset. Through genuine relationships and shared experiences, they were embodying the lessons of the miracle. Carlo felt gratitude wash over him as he reflected on how this mission had transformed not only the lives of those they served, but also themselves. As autumn marched on, Carlo's passion remained undiminished. He inspired more creative initiatives, and it wasn't long before people began to notice their work beyond the confines of their community. Local news outlets began to spotlight their outreach efforts, drawing attention to the impact they were making. Carlo's heart danced with joy upon seeing their journey unfold on screen. It validated their mission and showcased the beauty of service inspired by faith. Then came an unexpected twist. The organizers of a regional youth charity event reached out, intrigued by their initiatives. They invited Carlo and his team to present at a gathering of youth organizations, an opportunity to share how the miracle of Rimini had inspired their work. This was it, a chance to amplify their message and reach more hearts eager to discover faith. As the day of the presentation approached, Carlo felt an adrenaline rush course through him. They meticulously prepared their speech, weaving together stories of the miracle, their experiences from the outreach efforts, and the inspiring voices that had emerged from within their community. They knew that sharing their journey could spark inspiration in others, encouraging a ripple effect of compassion and kindness. On the day of the event, the atmosphere was electric. Carlo stood backstage, the soft hum of excitement running through the room as he felt the energy build. The sound of laughter from the participants buoyed his spirit, calming his nerves. When it was finally their turn to present, Carlo stepped forward, breathing deeply, feeling the warmth of camaraderie behind him. "Good afternoon, everyone," he began, a smile spreading across his face as he gazed at the audience. He shared the miracle of Rimini, transporting his listeners to that pivotal moment centuries ago when faith began to meet humility in unexpected ways. He spoke passionately about the lessons he had learned and how they had become a vibrant part of their lives. As he transitioned into their outreach efforts, he saw appreciation gleam in the eyes of the audience. Carlo highlighted individual stories of service, laughter, connections, and the community they had built together. He made sure to emphasize that their mission was about embracing the ordinary moments where extraordinary love could blossom, echoing the essence of the miracle in their everyday interactions. When he concluded, the applause that followed was thunderous, reverberating with energy and encouragement. Carlo felt tears prick at the corners of his eyes. This was validation of their commitment, not just an acknowledgement of their efforts, but also a recognition of the profound truth behind what they had built together. Throughout the reception after their presentation, the response was overwhelming. Attendees approached Carlo and his friends, sharing how their stories resonated with them personally and expressing their desire to replicate similar initiatives in their own communities. "You've inspired me to believe," one young woman said, her voice filled with emotion. "I want to bring this kind of love and service back home." In that moment, he realized their journey was unleashed into a larger narrative. The miracle of Rimini and the legacy of St. Francis were not just confined to their experience. They were sending ripples through the fabric of society, igniting hearts to embrace acts of love and kindness everywhere. As the evening wound down, Carlo stood amidst the chatter of newfound connections and inspiring stories being exchanged. Laughter intermingled with discussions about faith, and he felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for how far they had come. The seeds planted in Rimini were beginning to blossom into a movement, a reflection of the miracle that continued to guide and inspire. The path ahead still held challenges and uncertainties, but Carlo felt buoyed by hope and the knowledge that they were part of something greater. Together, they'd honor the past while lighting the way for future generations to discover the profound beauty within the heart of faith. With love, kindness, and humility as their foundation, they were ready to continue nurturing a community united by a shared purpose, a legacy woven into the ever-growing tapestry of faith that connected them all. In the months following the festival, the community in Rimini continued to flourish, each day a testament to the miracles of connection and compassion that had taken root. With a newfound enthusiasm, Carlo and his friends eagerly expanded their initiatives, driven by the desire to nurture the legacy of the miracle of Rimini. Every week they gathered to assess their activities, brainstorming ideas that could further engage the youth and foster connections rooted in love and service. As students returned to school from summer break, Carlo sensed a palpable excitement in the air. It felt as if they were standing at the precipice of something beautiful, a blossoming movement woven together by shared experiences and a collective commitment to uplift their community. One day during a meeting, Maria suggested they hold a community art project. "Let's create a mural that represents our journey and the lessons we've learned from the miracle," she proposed. "It would be a visual way to express our faith and remind others of the importance of humility and kindness." Everyone enthusiastically rallied behind the idea, imagining the mural as a canvas that would speak to passers-by, inviting them to connect with the spirit of togetherness. They decided to dedicate the mural to the spirit of St. Francis, weaving a narrative that would reflect his teachings and the interconnectedness of humanity. With the plan set in motion, the group reached out to local artists who volunteered to assist with the design and execution. Carlo was thrilled by the wave of collaboration, the community coming together to create something tangible, a symbol of the values they wished to uphold. Over the next few weekends, they set up art sessions in the park, inviting individuals and families to come contribute their handprints, messages, and drawings to the mural. As sunlight danced upon their laughter, Carlo watched as the community mingled, young and old alike, each actively participating in the creation. They bonded over shared stories and encouraged one another to explore their creativity, immersing themselves in the process of artistry and fellowship. Children giggled as they splashed paint, while adults shared words of wisdom, reflecting on how faith had woven through their lives. It was a reminder of the simple yet profound beauty of working together to create something larger than themselves. Carlo's heart swelled as he witnessed the essence of the miracle coming alive in the project. It was cultivating a culture of kindness, collaboration, and a renewed spirit of faith. On the day of the mural's unveiling, anticipation buzzed through the air. The community gathered under a bright blue sky, savoring homemade treats and enjoying live music performed by local artists. As Carlo stood at the front looking out over the crowd, he felt a sense of pride. They had created not just a mural, but a gathering of souls committed to nurturing love and service. With a deep breath, he adjusted the microphone, calling the crowd's attention. Thank you all for being here to celebrate this special day. Today's mural represents not only our shared values, but also the powerful legacy of the miracle of Rimini. It speaks to the importance of humility, kindness, and the extraordinary ways we can connect with ourselves and each other. With the enthusiastic crowd looking on, Carlo turned, unveiling the vibrant mural. Gasps emerged as colors and images came to life, a depiction of Saint Francis surrounded by symbols of love and service, intertwined with handprints representing each person who had contributed. The crowd erupted in applause, their cheers echoing off the neighboring buildings. Carlo beamed with joy, basking in the energy and connection woven tightly within that moment. He saw children's faces light up in awe and adults nod with appreciation, recognizing the shared commitment to nurturing their community. As the day unfolded, participants gathered in front of the mural, taking pictures and sharing stories about what it represented to them. Carlo overheard heartfelt conversations about the impact of the miracle on individual lives, the growth of their relationships, and how they could continue to embody its teachings. In the following weeks, the mural became a local landmark, a gathering place that invited families and friends to reflect on the importance of love and humility. People often stopped to admire the artwork, share their stories, and connect with others. It served as a constant reminder of the miracle of Rimini and the power of community nestled in service to one another. With the mural successfully unveiled, Carlo turned his focus to expanding their outreach beyond Rimini. He reached out to neighboring towns, eager to share their message and inspire others to embrace the teachings they had come to celebrate. The enthusiasm spread, and soon, the ripple effect began claiming momentum across multiple communities. Carlo organized small road trips with his team to visit other towns, presenting workshops modeled after their previous successes. They encouraged local youth to engage with their faith and foster connections through service. Along the way, they built relationships, planting seeds of kindness rooted in the story of the miracle. In every community we visit, let's share our stories, Carlo encouraged. Let's show them that humility and love can manifest in countless ways. Everyone can make a difference, no matter how small their contribution may seem. As they traveled from town to town, Carlo soaked in the joys of connection, witnessing the impact of their efforts unfold. Communities began to mimic their actions, reinvigorating faith and compassion in ways he had only dreamed possible. It was a movement propelled by shared humanity, one that transcended age, background, and geography. As the months went by, the journey continued to intertwine with the miracle. Each encounter served to reinforce the idea that the essence of the miracle of Rimini thrived on a foundation built upon love, service, and humility. Carlo moved forward with deep conviction, inspired by every story that echoed the teachings of Saint Francis. One crisp winter evening, as snow blanketed the ground and stars twinkled above, Carlo gathered his team to reflect on the progress they had made since the festival. They shared laughter, stories, and triumphs while acknowledging that there were still challenges ahead. The spirit of unity remained as strong as ever, and each member felt the fulfilling inspiration that propelled them forward. This journey began with a miracle, but it's become so much more, Carlo reflected. It's about creating connections that ripple through our lives and inspire hope in others. Together, we are honored to carry this legacy, sharing love and kindness through every act. As they sat together, Carlo felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for how far they had come and for the inspiring journey that still lay ahead. With the miracle of Rimini serving as their guiding light, they were prepared to continue nurturing a legacy of connection, faith, and service. The path stretched out before them, illuminated by the promise of love and the belief that miracles could manifest through their everyday actions. As they embraced the future, Carlo understood that the heart of their mission was alive, echoing in the stories of youth, alive in their community, and echoing back to that moment in Rimini that had initiated it all. The journey of faith, love, and humility was an ever-evolving tapestry, intertwined with countless lives and illuminated by the spirit of Saint Francis, calling them forth toward a brighter, more compassionate world. As spring blossomed in Rimini, the purple and yellow flowers broke through the remnants of snow, signaling a new chapter filled with promise and excitement. Carlo and his team were enthusiastic, eager to further their work rooted in the miracle of Rimini. The energy among them was palpable. They were on a mission to foster a sense of community that echoed the teachings of love and humility championed by Saint Francis. Inspired by the success of their previous efforts, Carlo organized a week of kindness, where each day would focus on specific acts of service that would positively impact the community. They planned to engage the youth and encourage families to participate in service initiatives, igniting the spirit of humility in tangible ways. As they brainstormed different activities, excitement filled the room. The combination of creative energy and shared purpose set a tone that promised to spread optimism throughout Rimini. On the first day of the Week of Kindness, the team set out to surprise local elderly residents. They arranged small gift baskets filled with homemade treats, handwritten notes of encouragement, and flowers freshly picked from the gardens. Carlo gathered his group at the meeting spot, reminding them to approach the day with open hearts. "Today, we have the opportunity to make someone feel seen and loved," he emphasized. "This is about serving those who often feel forgotten in our fast-paced world." The team divided into groups and filled the bags with care before setting off to visit the community's senior centers. As they knocked on doors, the smiles on the residents' faces spoke volumes, their eyes lighting up upon receiving the surprises. "You brought sunshine into my home today," one elderly woman exclaimed, tears glistening as she embraced Carlo. He felt warmth fill his heart. These small acts of kindness nourished the soul, bridging gaps across generations. The next few days were met with similar enthusiasm. From organizing community cleanups to donating supplies to local shelters, the week unfolded with a sense of joy and fulfillment. Each act was met with laughter, shared stories, and the pervasive warmth of unity. Carlo could see that people were not only willing to serve, but were eager to connect, sharing their experiences and creating bonds rooted in kindness. As the week continued, a sense of purpose echoed in the air. It was clear that the miracle of Rimini had become a catalyst for change within their community. More participants began to join in, people inspired by the energy around them, eager to engage and contribute. Carlo received messages from schools, local organizations, and even neighboring towns expressing interest in joining the initiative, fueled by the undercurrent of positivity circulating throughout the area. On the final day of the Week of Kindness, Carlo organized a community gathering, a celebration to honor all those who participated. He envisioned it as an opportunity not only to reflect on the week's successes, but also to share stories of the impact their kindness had made. "We've infused our community with the spirit of love," he said in excitement while planning the event. "Let's come together, celebrate, and encourage one another to keep this momentum going." As families, friends, and participants gathered under the blue sky, the atmosphere was charged with optimism and togetherness. Carlo stood at the front, welcoming attendees, filled with gratitude for the spirit that had emerged from their efforts. "What we've created here this week is just the beginning," he announced, gesturing toward the qualities of compassion and unity that were palpable in the crowd. "Let's keep this spirit alive not just for a week, but as a foundation for our lives moving forward." As people shared stories and experiences from the Week of Kindness, the intermingling of laughter and emotion resonated in their hearts. Parents expressed pride in their children who were eager to help. Young participants shared how they had developed friendships over shared service and the deep connections they had formed through acts of kindness. Carlo watched in awe as the community reflected on the impact of their collective actions. It was a vivid illustration of how love could manifest in many forms. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, the gathering culminated in a beautiful moment, a commitment to embrace the spirit of the miracle of Rimini moving forward. Together, they created a symbolic pledge, signing a large canvas filled with colorful handprints and personal messages of hope, love, and commitment to service. It would serve as a lasting reminder of their journey and a powerful call to action for the future. After the gathering, Carlo took a moment to soak in the scene around him. The community was bright and vibrant, full of smiles, laughter, and energy, each connection strengthening the fabric of their shared experience. He knew that the legacy of the miracle was alive and vibrant, woven into the hearts of those who chose to serve and uplift one another. Late that evening, as he closed his eyes to rest, Carlo reflected on how far they had come. The miracle of Rimini had become not just a tale from the past, but a living testament to the transformative power of faith and love, continuously guiding their community forward. And as he let himself drift into sleep, he held on to the knowledge that their journey was far from over. It was evolving, growing, and inspiring those around them, all leading towards a brighter future where kindness would forever flourish. A truly deserved lesson. If you agree, please like this video and subscribe for more stories, and tell us what you thought in the comments.